it's Chrissy from Up the Windy Lane again, and today we are going to talk about seeds again. You'll have to excuse my voice. The weather here is kind of crazy, and I can't talk really loud because it just goes away. So that's been interesting this year. But we're going to talk about seeds. We're going to talk seed organization today. I'm going to go ahead and get some of mine going, get them divided up. Not going to really decide how many I want to plant yet, but I'm going to decide what I want to plant. So I'm going to take you along and show you how I do that this year. First, I have to tell you this really cool resource that I found. So you know that I have this one that I printed out a couple years ago that I keep telling you about. It's linked below. And this is garden.org, and it is a really good resource to use. It's what I've used for the last 2 years now. I was watching another video and they were talking about Johnny's seeds. Did you know that they have one of these as well? And it is similar to the one from garden.org, but this one has flowers. I am so excited. I had no idea. So I'm pretty excited about this one because I want to plant some more flowers this year, and this is definitely going to help me with those. I am still going to use my garden.org one for the most part. I am going to reference between the two of them, but I did get I've got to get my seeds down, and I did get my clear one out of the greenhouse. I'm going to got my sharpening marker, and we're going to get going. I also, let me show you what else I got today on clearance from Walmart. So I got this. I found this, and it goes, of course it was last year, but it's like a 1.5 year calendar. So it goes through June of this year. I paid $3 for it. It's a really nice calendar, and it's really big, so it has plenty of space to write. So the reason I got it is in case I do want to write my tasks down in my calendar and have something I can take out and write on and write notes on, then this would work because it also has like a week at a glance kind of thing. So I can write stuff down here as well that I want to do if I want to go that route. But $3, if nothing else, I will use it as my just normal calendar and write stuff down. I almost use my calendar sometimes as a diary. I write down like when we have chicks hatch, how many we have hatch, things like that. I really need to put more stuff on there, like how many eggs I gather each day or whatever. That way it's all kind of in one space, but I haven't quite got that organized yet. When we get into the seeds, you'll see my little seedlings. Yes, I know, I've got something going on. I'm trying a couple different things. I've got some air moving down here to kind of not let them, I don't know. But the beets, the kohlrabi and such, and the cabbage came up really well. So I don't know, we'll see. Kind of experimenting a little bit. Now, over here, the kale, you know, like kale. The kale did not come up very well. The mixed greens did, so I don't know. This one was kind of a failish. This one's pretty good, except for, you know, I've got some kind of fungus here, but I'm trying not to keep them really wet. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So I normally sit at the table and do this, but everything's in here, and so we're just gonna hang out with Mavis. I just brought her in, so we're gonna hang out with her, and we're gonna do these seeds. So I think I'm just gonna go down the list. I'm just gonna start. Okay, so the first one on our list here is asparagus. Now, asparagus, I am not buying any. I don't have any seedlings. I'm going to take my glasses off. I'll just pull my hair back with them a little bit. So I can't read with my glasses on. So I have my glasses off most of the time unless I'm doing something else. It's kind of crazy. I don't know. That's what happens when you're like in your 40s and your eyesight changes. So, asparagus. Transplant seedlings into the garden between February 28th, 7th, and March 13th. So I don't have seedlings. I'm not doing any more asparagus, so that one's just really, I don't really have anything to do with that. It's just they're out there and they're going to come up when they're supposed to come up. Okay, so beans are a direct sow. I'm not going to start those. Beans do really well for me here whenever I direct sow them in anywhere from April through May, so those will be fine. Now beets, I already started those, so I have some of those going, and I don't think for right now I am going to do more because I can actually direct sow those in the middle of February, and that's just a little bit over, that's like 5-6 weeks from now. So I'm not going to worry about starting any more beets. This is kind of an experiment behind me, and we're going to see how that goes. So I'm not going to worry about those. Now broccoli, I have never had luck with broccoli, and that is something I want to grow because it is something that we eat. So since it is something that we eat and I buy, I would really like to be able to grow it. So we may try that. But I need to look at my broccoli seed because I do have broccoli seed, but I don't know how old it is. So this is also going to help me make a list for what I might need to purchase as well. And that's why I'm going to go ahead and do this. When this video comes out, it's about a week after I'm actually filming this. So I will probably have already ordered what seed I want to order. But I'm doing this now because I will be starting seeds the end of January. So, and into February. So I definitely want to go ahead and get these ordered. So broccoli is February 2nd. So is Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, those cold loving plants. So anywhere from February 2nd through February the 16th. So let's look at our calendar and see what Fridays those would be for me. So if we flip over here to February of this year, then wow, that works out perfect this year actually. Those are Fridays. So I could potentially plant some of the broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower. I'm sure there's more. There is a lot of cold things that will be planted these 3 weeks. So I'm going to be starting a lot of seeds. So I'm really going to have to decide how many I want to plant. Cold crop because I only have so much space back here. So I might have to open up some more space. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what I've got going and how much room I have. So each one of these trays, if I do the soil blocks, I can fit about 50. So, I mean, that is 200 up there. But when you have as many plants as what I have that I'm going to be starting that same time, I may not have enough room. So we'll have to wait and see. Okay, so this February 2nd through the 16th, you're talking broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower. And if we go to this next page, you're also talking collards if you're planting those, eggplants, kale, kohlrabi, lettuce, mustard, peppers. You can start your peppers then as well. Spinach, tomatoes, lots of things. Onions were actually in January. So at the end of January, I'm going to be starting onions. And so I'm going to have to decide how many I want to start of those as well. So there's a lot of stuff, like a lot of this stuff is starting in February. So I'm really going to have to pay attention and figure out if I have enough room. So let's look at Johnny's and see what it says. Okay, so Johnny's is a little bit different. It says, this is actually February 24th. Cabbage is about in the same range. Cauliflower is later. So I'm good on like cucumbers. That will be later on. I can do those. Might even be able to do those in the greenhouse. Let's see. Kale is about the same. Lettuce, melons. Okay, so mustard, it's all in that same range there. I think it might go, though, a week later, like February 10th through February 24th, sorry. So I might be able to push it and even start seeds into February 23rd. So that would give me 4 weeks to start all these cold crops. So that would probably come in really, really handy. All right, onions, onions, this has January 13th through the 27th. So I may actually start these a little bit earlier, and we'll see how that works out instead of waiting until the 27th to start those. So I don't know. This is just a little bit different, but I've never used this one. I'm really excited about the flowers, though. I've got lots of flowers I want to plant. Okay, so if we go back to the one that I know I've used, that I know I've had good luck with, we're gonna stick with that one. So what my plan is to get my seeds out and get the ones out that will be 4 Fridays of February. And we're going to get those out and we'll go ahead and look at those, check them, see how many seeds we have, if I need to order more, how many I want to plant will be later. Actually, I'll have to do that because I got to know how many to order, so I'm going to have to know how many to plant. So I guess I'm going to be doing more of that than I thought I was today. But first, I do have to get it all out and mark some containers. I think my poor voice holds up through this video. Okay, so the very first thing that I do need to pull out is onions, because those are the first thing that will be started. Okay, so we have onions, and I know I have plenty of onions. I will not have to purchase any onions, so I'm just going to set those over here, and let's go on down the line here. Beans, I'll plant out. Beets, I've already planted. I'm not going to start any more of those. So now we do need broccoli, and I think that is probably in this other one made. Yep. Okay. So, oh, these, they shut really well. Okay. So I have broccoli and cauliflower together. So I have those out. So we're going to put those in a pile. I'm not going to put them with this because this will be separate. So this is the Fridays in February. So we have broccoli, and then we have Brussels sprouts. So we're going to get our Brussels sprouts out. We're going to put those there. What's next? Cabbage is next. So we do want to find our cabbage. And I think I put all the cold stuff pretty close together. So here's our cabbages. And then we already have our cauliflower. They were with the broccoli. Now you'll notice the carrots in here, those get planted straight out, and of course the cantaloupe does too. I have started cantaloupe and watermelon and such before though, early in the greenhouse, and it seemed to work out really well for me. So I will probably do that again and not just start them right outside. But we do want to go, let's go to our another one. I don't think I'm going to do collards because I don't really buy that. I don't really buy eggplant either. Although I do have eggplant seeds that I may start some more because I do have some tiny ones and they're really super. I'll have to find those though. Okay, so we've got kale, which I don't know where that's at in this one. We've got kohlrabi, which is right here. So I have the kohlrabi. I'm going to have to find my kale. Actually, that may be in the greens. That makes sense. Yep. It's going to be in here. So with all the Swiss chard and all the greens in there. So we got that. We got the kohlrabi. The lettuce is in the greens. The mustard is in there as well. I already have the onions out. So we need to go ahead and get peppers out. And I believe we are also getting tomatoes. If I get this paper. Tomatoes, spinach, I've never had luck with. I've even used new seed and it's not worked out so well for me. Okay, so let's find our peppers. Here's our peppers and our tomatoes. And I think that's it for now off of the list. So the rest of my seeds that are in my organizer here, I just kind of want to go down through and I want to make sure that I am not missing anything. So sugar snap peas. So sugar snap peas will be direct sown in February, actually, in the middle of February. So I will get these out, but they will be in a different container because I won't be starting these from seed, but I won't be starting these inside. I will actually be planting these out in the ground. So I definitely have to have somewhere to put that in a little over a month. Those may be a little bit later in February. I have February, the middle of February through the middle of March to plant these here. So I think that will be okay. Okay, so next up is loofah. So I need to look up loofah because they did really well for me last year, but I did plant them a little bit late. So that is one thing that I need to look up. I don't really know if I need to plant more loofah, but they grew so easily and no pests. I wish everything was like that. Okay, all right, so the carrots will be, we go back to that first page, the carrots will actually be direct sown March 1st through the March 29th. So of course, that is going to be another pile that we're gonna put. All right, next up is okra in my container here. And if we look at okra, you can see that okra is April. So those between the middle to end of April. So yet another pile. Hopefully we're going to keep all these, somewhat organized. Okay, so beans are going to be direct sown in, oh, that's fall. Okay, beans are going to be direct sown in April through May. So we can put those with the okra because it does start at the same time. So I'm going to put these with the okra over here in my piles. And then what else do we have? What did I put over there? Beans. Okay, so I have 2 things of beans. So we'll put those together. And then I have, this one does not have, I think one of my little labels came off or something. I have stuff just like, oh, see, now these didn't get sown November. None of this got done. These are herbs that I had last year. So I think they probably just got stuck down in there and I didn't have time to do them. So maybe those need to be done this year. I'll have to think of where I'm going to put those. So I'll just set those over here a little bit. And then this is all herbs. So I'm going to set these over here with those because that's what those are too. And then move the sunflowers over here. I've got peas. I didn't plant peas last year. These are just, you know, regular peas. I think this might have been a free seed packed for 2022. So I may need to plant these just to see, you know, if they're still good. So let's see when just regular peas, because they were a little bit later. So regular peas are April. So that's going to go with that pile we had of the beans and the okra. All right, melons. We've got melons here. So these are all like watermelons, different kind of melons and everything. And we use some of these. I like making watermelon lemonade. So these will be planted, but they will be direct sown. So if we go to our list here and we find, well, actually I'm gonna have to go to, let's see what we can find here. So watermelon, that's gonna be April. It's gonna be in April. So when we're gonna start those. Cantaloupes would be started in March. So these are going to be pretty close to that same pile there, right there. But these are all sown outside. These are not direct. These are direct sown, not started inside. So we've basically cleared out this, except for this loofah and the sunflowers, which I don't know if I will start those or not. I may just kind of toss those out. The loofah, I'm not sure yet what I want to do about these. See, I probably wrote it down somewhere when I started these last year, but they are 130 days. So they do take a while. So I will just need to either put it in my, may try seed time, or I need to probably mark on there when I need to start these, you know, like so many weeks, say before my last frost. I'm going to look this up for sure, but I have something in the pile that starts in April that is 80 days, and these loofahs are 130 days. So I'm thinking if I want these to be harvested, then I'm going to have to start these, maybe start the seed in, actually I may direct sow these with the melons and everything. So let's move on to the next one. All right, next up is pumpkins. So let's look at pumpkins. Let's see, pumpkins is on here. That is the only thing, like there are some things that are just not on here, and you have to either figure it out on your own. I know, which is totally inconvenient, right? Or use like seed time. Pumpkins. Johnny's has pumpkins. So these get started 3 to 4 weeks before you start them out. I've always had luck with pumpkins and squash and stuff. They really come up really quickly. Started inside. All right, so we have our piles here. This is actually starting first, and then this is going to be starting. I don't know that I'm going to have this very good organized. I don't feel very well organized right now. All right, so now we have winter squashes. So these are your like butternut and things like that. Let's see if these are on here. Okay, squash. So you're talking about the same time as the pumpkins, okay? So we're going to put those there. So these get started inside. So I'm wondering if I probably need to put the loofah there as well. I also decided to put the loofah with the winter squash that I'm starting inside, because some of those winter squashes are 100 to 120 days. The loofah is 130. So, and the loofah actually just dries on the vine. And so I think if I started about the same time, that will be fine. All right, potatoes. I don't have any seed potatoes. I actually did, and I don't really know that they, like seeds, actual seeds, that they did very well. I do have lots of potatoes of mine that have, that are growing like eyes and just like, yeah, kind of going crazy. And we're having to eat those pretty quickly. I don't have like a great storage place right now. So once it hits about the middle of February around Valentine's Day, I can probably plant some potatoes and not have to worry about it. I do have a miscellaneous that I will probably look through, but I don't know. It's just got some really random stuff that I purchased a few years ago. All right, so next is corn. So we are going to put corn out. I actually started my corn from seed, not in the ground last year. I didn't know you could actually do that. It's not recommended to start it like that, but I did, and it came up fine. So it was kind of weird. It was just a test. I really didn't pull any from it, but this can be planted outside in April. So because I am limited on my space of starting seeds, I am going to put this with my starting outside direct sow pile. All right, next up is cucumbers. Cucumbers, we do plant these. I like to eat these fresh. I like to use vinegar, sugar, and make just really quick pickles. And like thunder and lightning is what we call it. And that's what I really, really like. I dehydrated some this year, and I made some powder with it. I made some cucumber lemonade with it. So lots of different things you could do with those. I have a few different varieties, but let's look at when these get started. If we look over here, we can see cucumbers are not recommended to start indoors. So they are going to go in this pile. I have started them indoors, and I might end up, it really just depends if I can get them maybe about a month before that, get them a good head start. We might. Root crops. All right, so let's see what we have in here, because got some, these were free seeds I got last year, and I believe these were too. And I grew these. They actually came up pretty good. We didn't eat them though. I gave them to the chickens, and I've never had really good luck with any of these. We don't really eat this, so I'm not really going to worry about it unless I just have extra and I just want to grow. So we're just going to set that one over here to the side. Now, summer squash I will grow because I do like zucchini. I like making zucchini bread. I like adding it to things. And so we're definitely going to be growing some summer squash. So let's look where that's at. So summer squash is not actually listed on either one of these, and I don't know what I put this in last time, which is weird. So what I'm going to do is, while you can start these, I'm not going to, I don't think. I'm going to direct sow them in April whenever I do these, because they will come up in 5 to 10 days. And they don't need to, they're not frost hardy. So by the time they come up, our last spring frost should be done. So when these come up, then they will be growing and hopefully will do well and be able to be harvested pretty quickly. I look ahead and I see that, maybe, like all this is direct sown, which is good. Because it doesn't really require space inside. I'm just going to have to plan it out, and know where I'm putting everything, because it is going to be going right outside. I may end up, starting these 3 to 4 weeks before my last frost, which would be towards the end of March. So we'll wait and see. I can start these probably in the greenhouse like I have before. By then, I think it might be warm enough in the greenhouse to where I could start these, but we'll just have to wait and see, kind of play it by ear. I have enough time for that, and if I miss that window, then I'll just plant them outside. Sat here long enough that one of my legs is tingly because it fell asleep. It's really, really tingly. Okay, next up is beets. So I'm not going to start any more beets inside, but I am going to direct sow some beets later on. So that will go in a different pile, but that will go in direct sow. That I could have another succession of beets later on in the summer. Later on in the summer is funny because that is not the case. I'm going to be planting these in February, so I'm going to have beets in probably April, so not in summer. So those are going to go in the direct sow pile because those will be direct sown in February. Actually, along with the sugar snap peas. So the sugar snap peas are February the 12th, and the beets are about February 16th. So I'm just going to kind of put them in the same area. The carrots are March, so I'm going to put those after that. And then I believe this big pile is April. So we're going to put that there. Now, I do have some fun seeds that I don't know, we've had for forever. Like, these are really old, but I like planting them because I actually planted a seed last year that a friend gave me, and it was 10 years old, and it germinated and it grew a plant. So I was so excited. I unfortunately did not get a watermelon and get to save seed, but I still have some, so that's cool. These are like 2015, and I'm going to try to grow them. I'm going to see if they'll start, you know, if they'll do something, because these are like the coolest things. So, you know, it's good to have fun with some stuff. If you have seeds, maybe somebody gave you and they're really old, try them anyways. You know, don't take up like specific food room, but you know, if it gets later on and you can start them outside in something, then start them outside in something and do that. Okay, so I have piles around me, and now it's time to actually label the containers and put them in where they go. So this is going to be the fun part. Y'all are going to have to help me stay organized. Okay, so because the onions are actually the only thing I'm starting this month, I think in January, I'm literally going to just put the date right here, and I'm just going to take one of these out, and I'm just going to put it in here because this is what is going to be started. Okay, so I'm going to take, so on this one from garden.org, it says January 26th through February 2nd, and then Johnny's says January 13th through January 27th. So I think I am going to put a good 3 to 4 weeks. So I'm going to put January 13th through February 2nd. This is not actually going to be, let's see here. What did I say? January, let's see if I can do this. January 13th through February 2nd. Okay, that's my plan. We'll just put those in there. So now I know I'm going to start these somewhere in there, because January 13th actually falls on a Saturday. So I could start January the 12th. I could start some the 19th, the 26th. I could go over into February, and I could start the 2nd of February. So I do have, you know, a good, 4 weeks that I could start onions and not start them all at one time. Or, you know, I could, you know, start half here, or whatever I would like to. Okay, so this next group is the really big group that gets started inside, and it's February 2nd through February 16th. That is the garden.org. Johnny's has a little bit different. So Johnny's has tomatoes as March 2nd through March 23rd. So, I mean, that might help me because I have a limited space. When to start inside. Okay, so that's when that says. Well, let's look at the peppers. It says March 9th for peppers. So I may take my tomatoes and my peppers, and we're going to separate those from the cold crops. And we're going to start those a little bit later, I think, than what I was planning. I think I'm going to still use the same window, but I think I'm going to use Johnny's to kind of decide when I'm going to plant each week. So because I do have like 4 weeks to plant on Fridays, I think I'm going to use the Johnny's. Like broccoli, I can plant on February 24th. The cabbage, I could do around the February 10th mark. And cauliflower, the February 24th. That way I'm kind of doing similar things on similar days and not getting super overwhelmed. And if I think that I'm, you know, needing more, I can always plant. Like if I plant kale and kohlrabi on February 10th and it doesn't do well and it's not coming up well, then I know I could plant more the next week or a couple weeks and it would be fine. All right, so I've been busy. So I wrote down Fridays on all here, and these say start, so I'm going to start those inside. These say sow, so I'm going to sow these out. I was going to separate them, but this way I know my dates are all just going to kind of line up. I still have a few to do. I have this stack to finish and this to look at and this to clean up, but I've made progress. What I'm going to do is I've got a good start. I'm going to put this into seed time and kind of compare. I've been comparing the Johnny's list with the garden.org and just kind of comparing and kind of making some adjustments. Hopefully we'll keep notes this year and we'll kind of know. I did write like on the onions the date on these because these will probably be started about the same time every year. So I just kind of left those like that. That may change next year. I have no idea. But this is how I'm starting. And then I will just go through and see if I need to order. I did see I probably need to order tomatoes, at least for next year. And possibly some broccoli and things like that. Some other stuff I've got plenty of. So it just kind of depends. See what else I want to grow. If there's anything new I want to do. or maybe something I really liked last year, or maybe something I didn't, like eggplant, didn't grow that last year, I might grow it this year. So I'll add it to one of my containers that I have, and I'll know when to start it or when to sow it, and it'll just make things so much easier. So pick your day of the week when you want to start your seeds or when you want to sow your seeds. That way you have it and you've got a set day and you know you're going to be doing something that day. This makes it so much easier. I've done this for the last couple or so years, and it just makes the springtime of when you're starting your seeds and when you're starting gardening so much easier. So I hope you enjoyed this video on what I like to do and how I like to stay organized. Be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to be lovely lights today.